From Venture X Studios, it's JP, Kathy, and the crew.
All right, and now, as you see, we had Mallory Fuller, Miss Texas 2021, had her picture up to start the show because we've got great news. She made it to the top 10, and we are just so excited to celebrate her this morning with our friend Susan Schuler. So welcome to the show, JP, Kathy, and the crew. This is our last live show for the year. Then we'll be rebooting, and we'll see you again in 2022. We'll be running some best ofs in the meantime, but we are just really happy that you have chosen to spend today with us. We're going to be celebrating Christmas and New Year's today on the show. We've got Senator Angela Paxton coming on a little bit later and talking about holiday or Christmas traditions, what they do over the holiday time. We're going to talk some favorite Christmas songs, and just very excited to be here with you today and kick off Jesus being the reason for the season early. So first of all, Susan Schuler, hello, how are you?
Hello.
Oh my goodness.
Good morning from Connecticut for the last
Good morning.
time.
Yeah, and we appreciate so much you calling in live, every day this week with us. It's been great to get live updates from the 100th Miss America competition, and what a night to celebrate. And again, we appreciate you, especially because I know you probably had a late night. So I got to talk to you about 10 o'clock my time, 11 o'clock your time. So I would imagine everybody was up celebrating into the night.
Yes. And I can just say I'm glad that we're an hour early. I guess y'all are an hour earlier than we are. And I'm not in Las Vegas and having to be 2 hours behind you. So
it's not 6 o'clock for you this morning.
Yeah, it would have been, this might not have happened then. So, but yeah, we let's just say we almost saw the sunrise, I guess. So.
I love it. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, lots to celebrate. And I'm going to have, Brett is going to very kindly play the video that you sent me last night. You captured it live in Connecticut. So we're going to play the video, and then we're going to talk about what it was like when y'all were waiting for, to see if she was in the top 10. I would imagine that was very suspenseful. So let's go ahead and if you'll do the full screen for the video.
I advocate for suicide prevention. For the past 8 years, I've spent my time and energy starting conversations about suicide and speaking out on this violent subject. I write 3 children's books focused on building mentally healthy children because suicide prevention begins in elementary school, but never ends. I teach critical education to people of all ages and give them the tools that they need to help others. I've even passed life-saving legislation in the state of Texas, but it doesn't end here. I do this for my friend Johnny, so that everyone knows the warning signs and what to look for. My mission is simple: to save lives across America.
Wow. Sound wasn't the best, but I bet you can probably go find it on YouTube.
Yeah.
But it doesn't translate as well on the show. But she was phenomenal. Her stage presence was amazing. She just had that Mallory, Miss Texas smile that we love so dearly. So, Susan, how was it when you're in the audience? So start us off. Because I missed the first part of the show, and I hated to do that, but had an event that I couldn't miss, and so I was hurrying home, and you were texting me. Did they call the top 15 first, or how did they start the event out? And when did y'all know that Mallory Miss Texas had made it into the top 10?
Well, this was totally a different format than we've ever seen before.
Okay, it seemed like it. It seemed like it because even the way they did the end, it was. I was like, I don't remember it being like this before.
Right.
Okay.
It was. Well, they brought them out in groups of 10, and the girls introduced themselves, and then they said, "Okay, 2 of you will be staying, the rest will be going."
Oh,
and
wow.
so two girls were picked out of each group. So we had to sit through each group, and Mallory was in the last group. And it was like, oh my gosh, there's only 2 spaces left.
Oh my goodness.
And so they called Miss Utah first. And I thought, okay, there's only 1 spot left. This has got to be her. And they called her. And it was like pandemonium from the Texas group. I mean, you could hear all of us going crazy. But it was a little nail biter a little bit because we really thought she would. But, you never know. And there were a couple of surprises that I didn't have them on my list. And I didn't even know they were there, actually. So
that's interesting.
That are surprised.
And let's talk about that a little bit because, Susan, you've been doing, how many years have you been with the Miss Texas organization?
This is my 30th year.
I mean, that's a long time. And so you've seen it all. And you've always been really spot on. When JP and I first started working with you in Miss Texas, in the Miss Texas organization, which is just, I can't say enough great things about the Miss Texas organization. We hope to broadcast live from the Miss Texas pageant again, which will be, I guess, in June.
The last week in June 1st. Well, they'll crown on July 3rd.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, then we hope to broadcast live from there again this year. It just is such a great relationship with y'all. But I've always been blown away by you'll be at Miss America, and you'll be like, okay, Miss so and so, Miss so and so, and Miss so and so, and I'm like, how did she know that? Because you've seen it all. But you even said there were some surprises. And I thought in the past, all the girls came out, introduced themselves. You found out who the top 15 were because Chandler had made it to the top 15. So this year, they just cut straight to the top 10.
10.
Okay,
yep.
Wow.
It was straight to the top 10. The top 10 performed their talent.
Okay.
And before their what Mallory did, they had their TikTok commercial on first. And so that was very different. And they never got to do their actual social impact.
Right.
Because it just, they didn't have, I guess, for time-wise, they didn't do them.
Right.
But after they did the top 10, then they brought the top 10 back out and said 5 of you will be staying and 5 will be going. But the way they did it, they would call one person from the top to the top 5 and let them have, it was like a 2-minute question from the judges. And the judges were different this year. There were 3 of them. Usually there's 5 or 7. There were 3, and they were all former Miss Americas.
Okay, and that I
So
thought that
they,
I missed that, obviously missing the beginning of the show, but I
Mhm.
wondered about that because they at least one of them referenced a time when she had a very interesting, unique
right,
situation back in
right,
2000 when she was Miss America. So these are all ladies who had
right,
been there and done that, which I loved them celebrating the
right,
past 100 years like that.
right. And so the one judge would ask the one girl questions until the time ran out.
Okay.
And then they would call the next one. Well, everybody had to stand there until they did all five, which was very uncomfortable, I would think.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so you get down to the last five, last person, and then it's like, oh, I didn't make it, and
Yeah.
I have to stand here and listen to her, which they're all professionals
Oh, yeah.
basically, and they're handled it with grace and beauty, but it just was uncomfortable for all of us because we're like, well, okay,
Yeah.
just to see him standing there. And after that, they sent them off and brought the five back on and immediately said, okay, fourth runner up. And we're like, what is going on?
Yeah. That was, and that to
Hmm.
me, it didn't seem, and I understand it was the 100th year, so they were wanting to do something different. I get that. It didn't
Hmm.
flow as smoothly as it usually does because that was like, wait a second. Eh,
Yeah, the girls didn't know
yeah.
that was going to happen.
Yeah, that was odd. That was kind of odd.
And that was odd. And here they are in their question
They're
outfit,
interviewing
their no
outfits.
gowns,
Right.
nothing.
Yeah.
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 And so they called the fourth runner up and the third runner up, and then sent them off, and the three were left, and they sent them off, and they got back in their evening gowns, and oh no, they do. I'm asking my friend Becky.
Oh.
Hi,
Becky.
It's been a long night. Then they did something different and that's what you saw with them asking the girls, the 3-1. They said it was their challenge,
Yes.
and each judge asked them, about a question that how they would handle something.
Yes.
And by far, we all thought Alaska handled it the best.
And she was so genuine. At that point, you and I were texting, and
Mhm.
I was like, we're now that Mallory's not in the top 3,
Mhm.
we were pulling for Miss Alaska at that point because
Mhm.
she was so genuine. You could just tell it wasn't like she had rehearsed all this stuff, and it was
Oh,
just
no.
what she thinks she needs to regurgitate. You could tell
Right.
she was a very humble young lady, and just and
Mhm.
fun too, just very fun and energetic.
Mhm. I think she was in shock. She was in the top 3.
Yeah, and you could tell
To
she
be
was blown
honest.
away. She was blown away.
Yeah, and she wasn't totally expecting that. And the funny story that we'd heard during the week is that she was at school at Arizona State, had to take her final and get on the plane and come to Miss America. And
Wow.
she called her director and said, I don't know if I have everything or not. I have no idea. So, that's how spontaneous she was. So that's why we liked her. And we kind of watched her all during the week and doing rehearsals. And she just had a sense of humor that was just really, really funny. So
Oh, I love it.
we were glad. But then after they did their questions, they sent them off, and they all came back in their evening gown to be crowned.
Right.
And they just went right to it and named them off, and there she was. So
Yeah, it was.
Miss Alaska was the winner. So
And so then I think you said Miss Alaska was on a plane at like 3 a.m. already, preparing to be
I'm sure
Miss
they've got her.
America.
Hmm. I'm sure they do.
Yeah,
Our little
just,
Mallory was on the plane at 6 this morning, coming back
Woo!
to Texas. So she's probably in Texas right now.
she's probably landing
Well,
just
we're trying
about
to-
now. So hi, Mallory.
just about now.
We're proud of you.
Yeah.
Oh well, and,
So-
and then and Mallory's got a busy schedule. Miss Texas has a busy schedule already
Yeah.
when she gets back. I was
Right.
texting you about the president of a statewide organization
Mhm.
who's doing a leadership
Mhm.
summit, and she's like, because she got to meet Miss Texas one of the days here in studio, and she was like, okay, we want her for this, and I texted you. You're like, she may already be booked. So no rest. Mallory gets to come back, celebrate Christmas, and then get right back at it.
Right. So yeah, I talked to her business manager while we were here at the pageant, and she said that she's already received a lot of calls requesting to book her. So
I love it.
She's going to be a busy person.
She is. Yeah, and I've got a couple of schools, one in Plano, one in Mesquite, that want her to come out and talk to the kids. Of course, we love it. She's such a talented young lady, and I thought, okay, she's got a really strong possibility of winning talent for the preliminary. But then I had to think, okay, Kathy, if she's going to win one of these things, what would be the most impactful and, well, pun intended, social impact? She won for her suicide awareness and suicide prevention in the preliminary for the social impact. And again, I think that's huge. She is just so the right person for the right time to be in a leadership position and highly visible because of all of the people suffering from depression, from mental illness, it worse than ever during the pandemic. Kids 7, 8, 9, trying to commit suicide. We had mentioned that, one of our, family members of JP and JP Kathy and the crew member, lost her son, and who's an adult. And again, it's just, this is one of those times where we are in need of a leader like Mallory Fuller, and just so proud of her. Just so proud of her.
Yes, and she has already, represented Texas well, and she will continue to do so. And it was a win-win for us. I mean, it would be a winner if she won Miss America, but it's a winner that she's coming back to Texas
absolutely, as well. Absolutely, because she's got so much great work left to do here. And just like that, it's going to be the blink of an eye, and we're going to be looking at the Miss Texas 2022 competition, which it's just, I can't believe it's going to be, I mean, literally, we're going to blink our eyes and we're going to be like, okay, here we are at the Miss Texas competition. So
that's correct.
It just goes so fast. It just goes so fast. Well, we're looking forward to having Mallory back on the show and, seeing her out and about all across the great state of Texas. And again, Susan, thank you so much for the relationship with JP, Kathy, and the crew, and your friendship to both JP and I. And, in any last words of encouragement, is there anything people can do to, first of all, if a young lady wants to get involved, how does she do that? And then also, how do people support the Miss Texas organization? Because Texas Cares for Kids is such a phenomenal part of Miss Texas, and there's so many different parts of Miss Texas. Tell us a little bit about how people can support the Miss Texas organization in the meantime, even when it's not competition season.
Well, the Miss Texas organization is always looking for sponsors to help with scholarships. We are, the Miss America is one of the largest scholarship organizations for women. And, Miss Texas wins $20,000 in cash scholarship when she's crowned. So we are always looking for sponsors to help with the scholarship program, and also to, if there's any colleges that want to do in-kind scholarships. We have girls from all over the state of Texas, so colleges would be a real important donation as well. For a girl to get involved, she can go to the website www.misstexas.org, and there's information on how to become a contestant, and she can do that. And then also you can support the Texas Cares for Children at texascaresforchildren.org, and you can also make donations there, and that will support Mallory going into the schools for Title I schools that can't afford to have Miss Texas come out.
Yep.
And if you want to book Miss Texas, you can contact booking manager at misstexas.org.
Awesome. Well, and like I said, both of the schools that I've got Mallory going to in 2022 are both Title I schools. And again, for them to see and talk to someone like Miss Texas, That can be a game changer. And with her message about suicide prevention, it can be life changing. Well, please tell her congratulations. Thank you so much for coming on, even though I know you're sleepy. Y'all travel home safely. And Susan, we love you and have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I'm sure we'll see you in 2022.
Okay. Merry Christmas to you and the crew.
Thanks.
And Happy New Year.
Yeah. Happy New Year. We love you.
All right. Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. That is Susan Schuler with the Miss Texas organization. And we are just so excited to celebrate Mallory and our Miss Texas who made the top 10. Another great Texas lady is on with us, and that is State Senator Angela Paxton, who's going to help us finish out the Christmas season and wish you a Merry Christmas and finish out 2021, because JP and I are taking a little break until 2022. And I can't believe it's already the end of the year. Senator Paxton, how are you this morning? Oh, is she not on? Oh, she's connecting back on. Okay, so we'll wait and we'll ask her again. Yeah, so we're getting ready to have Texas State Senator Angela Paxton on, and she's such a great woman of faith that we thought it would be wonderful to finish out the year 2021 with her and to celebrate Christmas. Jesus is the reason for the season, and I know she's a lady who celebrates that, so we're super excited to have her coming back on with us momentarily. Tell me when she's connected back on. Okay, let me see. I'm going to text her. She may need to reconnect. Okay, might need. I wonder, do we see her in the waiting room? Oh, she's connecting to, because yeah, she was going to be audio only today, I think. Oh, I hear her.
I'm here. I'm
Yay!
here.
All
Sorry.
right, and we know you're in the car. So, oh, there you are. Oh, you're walking to the car right now.
I'm walking to the car.
I love
and
it.
all of the hey, morning. We're all getting in the car because Katie, our youngest, is graduating from A&M today at 2:00.
Congratulations! Oh, that's wonderful. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, we're so excited that you were able to spend. This is our last show. Everybody get in the car, get your seatbelts on. We're so excited you could join us today. This is our last show before Christmas and before the new year. And so we thought, what a great way to finish off 2021 with our own Texas State Senator, Angela Paxton, who, you know, I mean, we're going to talk a little bit of politics, and then we're going to go into talking about, you know, Christmas and some of your favorite Christmas songs and traditions. Your faith goes with you everywhere, and you know Jesus is the reason for the season. So we just thought it would be great to finish off the year with you and kick off Christmas week with you. So, so first of all, Merry Christmas and blessings to you and your family.
Well, thank you, Kathy, so much. And you know, when you talk about faith, this is what transcends everything else, really.
It does.
It really is the deepest bond that you and I have, and that all of us have. And so it is really great. I mean, at the end of the day, we are individuals, and we are people who we care about same things, different things, whatever. But we're all people made in the image of God, and this is a time that we celebrate what God did for us in Christ. So. Anyway, I love that about you, and have always appreciated you, not just as a fellow conservative and someone who's made such a difference in those areas, but just as a sister in Christ. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And I love that relationship with you as well. Before we celebrate more about Jesus being the reason for the season, let's talk about politics. So there, and I didn't know this until you sent me a text the other day. So, you know, health workers have been under fire. God bless them, Angela. You know, they've been under fire. They've been on the front line when we had no idea what COVID was going to bring to us during the pandemic. These are people who have worked tireless hours, just been selfless. And then all of a sudden they're getting all these federal mandates, you know, shoved down their throat. So what is the latest on that? Has there been a break? Did she freeze?
Well, yesterday we won. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
we can hear you now.
Are we
Thank
good?
you. We're good.
Okay. Injunction against these vaccine mandates for healthcare workers, and actually, I have y'all know I'm in the car with my family. Let me do something real quick because I actually have kind of an expert on these issues. So, everybody, my husband Ken Paxton, Attorney General. I'm on with Kathy Ward. Good morning.
Hey, how are you,
Hold on,
Ken?
let me fix my. I think I messed up my audio here. Let me see if I can fix that real quick. Well, let's see. Let me see. I tell you what. Here, let's go back to this. Here, I'm going to give you these. Ken, you hold that one. I'll hold this one.
I love this. We're on a family road trip with the Paxton family.
Yeah, switch them with me. Here, you take this one. Sometimes we watch movies like this on the plane, right? So it's on this one. Okay. Ken, tell them about what we just won yesterday with the vaccine mandates, the injunction for healthcare workers.
Yeah, so we had already won a nationwide injunction on the OSHA, one that requires that employers that have over 100 employees make their employees get a vaccine or be fired. This was we have 3 total against the Biden administration. Another one relates to federal contractors. We're still waiting to get a ruling on that.
Right.
This particular one was related to healthcare workers, anything related to Medicaid, Medicare, which is probably millions of people in America. And there had been an injunction that was obtained by other states first. Like their case actually got the judge ruled first, but the nationwide part went away. And then that day, which was yesterday, our judge ruled, and we got not only an injunction for our state and our circuit, but for the Fifth Circuit, we got an injunction for the entire country for healthcare workers. So now healthcare workers are protected. So all these workers across the country that were worried about being fired, as long as their employers don't decide to do this, should be protected for the time being. And I think given the fact that we are winning on injunctions, it's very likely we're going to be successful on the merits when we get there.
I think, first of all, welcome and Merry Christmas to you, Mr. Attorney General. This is Ken Paxton, who is Angela Paxton's husband. That's how we know him on the show, who's the Attorney General for the state of Texas. And they are both delivering some great news. It's one of those things that when you have these people who put their lives on the line and their safety, and, some of these people have had to, have, extended quarantine times from their family because of the unknowns of the COVID and all of these things. And then to be told you have no choice, you're going to have to leave the profession that you love because you're not doing what the federal government is making you do. To me, it just seems so crazy. So thank goodness, at least they're getting a reprieve for now. Is that a good way to say it? Because that the liberals out there are going to be shoving this back down our throat.
Yeah, I mean, we also have state lawsuits against school districts and other governmental entities. But the reality is the fact that we have been winning injunctions is a very good sign, because it's a very high standard to get an injunction to stop it while you're waiting for an actual trial on the merits of the issue. The fact that we got that tells you a lot, because we have to show, one, that we are going to suffer irreparable harm, and two, that if we get to trial, we're likely to win on the merits. So it's a really, really strong signal. And Kathy, you're right. The reality is, if the President of the United States can order without any authority at all, no constitutional authority, no statutory authority, if he can make us get vaccine mandates, then he is truly a monarch like we've never had in the United States. He would literally be a monarch.
He would. We're talking about a dictatorship. We're talking about a communist society. We're talking about if one person alone is allowed to make decisions for the entire country, not even just a state or for a family, but for everybody, then all of a sudden we're no longer America. I mean, that's really, you have to sit there and say, we're not exaggerating. If that is allowed to happen in this country, we cease to be the great country that our founding fathers delivered to us.
Well, and that's so true, Kathy, and it's why it matters. this is not really even about vaccines when you think about it.
Yeah.
In the big picture, this is just about individual freedom versus government control. And that is what our country was really founded on. Our government is built and tasked with the job of protecting individual liberty. That's its job. That's its lane. And I'm really proud of all the work that Ken has done, not just in Texas, but he's really been a leader with other AGs around the country.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. Yeah, well, thank you.
Present.
Yeah, that is a Christmas present. That's a Christmas present not only to the healthcare workers, that's a Christmas present to we the people, because again, if it can happen to one group, it can happen to another group. So thank you, Attorney General Ken Paxton, and continue to fight the good fight. And we love you, but if you'll turn it back over to your lovely wife now.
Sure.
Okay, give me
Merry
give me my
Christmas,
other
kid.
earbud, right?
You know, you got to love it. And no disrespect to the Attorney General, but hey, you know, we wanted to close out the year with you, Angela. So thank you for that. That's great information. And we do really, you know, Ken is in a contested primary, and we'll have an opponent in November. Get out and vote, people. It makes a difference who you vote for. And then I know, Senator Paxton, you've got a contested primary. And let's talk a little bit about what an odd time this is in Texas, because you're not the only person who's got kind of an odd situation going on with your campaign.
No, in fact, I've talked to a number of folks across the state that have similar situations. So my primary opponent actually announced all over Facebook he was voting for Biden. He voted in the Democratic primary in 2020, and you know, there's no record of him voting in any Republican primary in Texas. And so he's now running on this thing about throw the party. And I'm thinking, which party do you mean? Because, you know, I won't even belabor the point, regardless of anything else someone says. If you didn't see where things would go, if you voted for Biden, maybe it's not the right time for you to be in Republican leadership, right?
Right. And it's not that, you know, it's not that we don't welcome folks who, you know, my goodness, and I think I even talked about this on the show with you a while back. And that was, you know, I had a dear friend who did not like President Trump's personality, called me when all of the senseless deaths and all the tragedies were going on in Afghanistan. And he said, Kathy, he goes, I've got to make a confession. And I'm like, well, I'm not a priest, but you know, and he's like, no, he said, he goes, you're the most active Republican I know. He said, I've got to call and apologize to somebody. He said, I've never had voter's remorse like I do in voting for Biden. I feel like the blood of these young people, it's on my hands too. So he said, I'm never voting for another Democrat president. We talked about this, and that may be the case, you know, with your opponent. And okay, you know, that's good when we realize that, hey, you know what, this isn't the path to keeping America great. But again, then I wonder, should you, if you're not even a year off of that vote, or you know, barely a year off of that vote, should you be looking for a leadership position with that particular party that was against everything Biden was throwing at us during the election?
Right. Well, and I think, you know, the good thing is that, I mean, in my race and in most of these other races, you have already a candidate who's an office holder who has a demonstrated track record of voting for the things that keep our, you know, keep our future free. That's what I'm running on. I want to keep our future free. I want to maintain, I want to protect individual liberty. And, you know, we have a regime in place right now that they don't see lanes. Right. They don't see lanes. They don't see a lane for government. Government is everything, right? And how anyone couldn't have seen that coming is a little bit beyond me, to be honest. And so it seems a little disingenuous. But at the same time, I'm proud to stand on my record, and that's what I'll be able to run on. And, you know, people know that I stand for life with the heartbeat bill, with the trigger bill. They know what I did for, you know, protecting our churches. They know that I've filed legislation against the vaccine mandates. I've stood up for that. You know, I've stood for making sure that, we protect our foster kids. We do the things that matter to our constituents, to the people of Texas, and most importantly, that also protect and strengthen what we know our government is built to do, which is protect individual liberty.
Right. Exactly. And it's, it seems, you and I sitting here chit-chatting about it, and we've talked about this, throughout, the session, you and JP and I, and it seems so simple, but unfortunately, the liberal media is owned by the far left. So messages that people should be hearing, they're not hearing. Unfortunately, a lot of people get their news off of Twitter. Well, that's okay, but have you verified the source? Have you verified the story before you go on to spread that and get everybody all emotionally riled up,
Mm-hmm. Well, exactly. And again, going back to just what I'm experiencing in my race already is the criticisms that my opponent is throwing at me are basically the same as the Dallas Morning News headlines, right?
Yeah.
So, again, that's not really the Republican message. The Republican message is, let's protect our kids. Let's protect girls' sports. Let's make sure that we don't have pornography in our schools. Let's make sure we're not teaching critical race theory and institutionalized racism.
Let's go back.
Right?
Let's go back, Senator, to
those are not just.
Let's go back real quick, because I don't want this to be lost in translation. This is one of those things. Did you ever think, and again, you're a former teacher, I'm a former teacher, parents, when our kids were school age, did you ever worry, like when I was library mom at St. Mark's Catholic School for my kids, I didn't ever have to worry, like I'm shelving books and, here's a book that has pornographic material in it. Talk a little bit about this, because this is really happening. And thank goodness we've got a senator like you who's fighting against this insanity.
Well, I appreciate that. And you're right. I mean, so many things, almost everything I just listed, it's kind of hard to believe that we would even have to. I mean, it seems like common decency alone would rule here, and we wouldn't have to be even considering legislation around these things. But the pornography in schools issue, I'll just talk specifically about what I have seen firsthand. And I've had a number of parents reach out to me about material in library books. And I was talking with a mom who's in Plano ISD just the other day, and she said, we've been trying to get together. We finally sat down in my office. I told her, I said, I don't really want to look at this stuff, but if I'm going to talk about it, I need to know what you're talking about. And so she brought a library book to me that her son had told her about. He's a high schooler, and he had said, all the guys were talking about this book, Mom, and they're talking about, whoa, have you seen this? Have you seen this book? Anyway, it's she said, check it out and bring it home. And then they didn't return it. So that's their way of keeping it off the shelf.
We'll pay the extended fine.
Exactly. But she brought it, and I'll talk specifically about this particular book. So this is one book, but it's called Goblin Slayer. It's what is called manga. I think, is that right, Tucker? Manga. Okay.
Yeah. My kids, it's like Japanese anime, kind of like our equivalent of comic books and stuff. And so, yeah.
Exactly.
Both of my kids have read some of those, and those are
okay.
If you're a parent, you want to check that stuff out. You want to make sure it's an appropriate one for your school age kid, just like the comic books.
Well, and I'll tell you what. So she handed it to me. So there's not a lot of reading material in the sense of words. This is mostly pictures.
Right.
And that's the genre it is. It's the comic book version of anime.
Right.
Okay. Of Japanese anime. So you could argue about just sort of the female bodies that are displayed a little prominently and everything else. So that's just one issue. But I'll tell you what, this book is graphically portraying these goblins raping women. Okay? I'm serious. I'm like going, And here's another thing about,
Yes.
People talk about, the power of images. And I think anyone listening on this call would agree. I mean, when you see something, it's hard to unsee it.
Right.
And so this is one book. It's in one library, but I'm hearing about this all over the place. And the most disturbing thing is, because I get that no librarian in a huge school district like Plano, no librarian is able to read every book.
Right.
Right?
Oh,
I get that.
Oh, yeah.
The head librarian is not going to be able to read every book. And so those are things that are going to happen at the campus level and that sort of thing. But the thing that's really disturbing about this whole situation is that they have not been responsive. They've defended the book being there as well. It meets our standards for, it has redeeming value in some way. And I'm like, okay, come on, right? I'm saying this one book, I thought myself, if it's hard for a librarian that has a lot of letters behind their name to acknowledge that, maybe we should at least pull this and talk about it.
Right.
I think we've got a real problem in our schools. And so I'm going into that just to say this is a real issue.
It is.
And I'm shocked. Maybe not that something slipped through the cracks and ended up in the library. And we need to do some things, and this is what this parent and I were talking about, is doing some things to make sure there's more transparency. For example, I sponsored legislation and we passed it
Right.
On what's called SHAC transparency, the School Health Advisory Council,
Okay.
which is something that was put together some time back to create local community standards of committees that are comprised of parents of the local community to look at health curriculum, et cetera, which, is what our sex education curriculum goes through, generally speaking, just to make sure parents had a chance to review this material and they were comfortable with it and it reflected community standards before it was sent to the school board for approval.
Right.
And I think it seems like a pretty common sense thing that library books, that library books should also meet those same kind of standards and have that same kind of review, right?
Right.
But all of that to say, I mean, the bottom line, what I'm saying is, it's sad enough that it kind of slipped through, but maybe we can have some grace for that. But the fact that this parent is having trouble getting response to even acknowledge, oh yeah, this is something we should look at in response to your concern, parent.
Right.
Right. Parents are. It's kids don't belong to the schools; they belong to their parents, their families.
Yes, thank you.
So that should be the final answer. So yeah,
it's so
but
true.
It's a real thing.
And it really is. And I didn't want to gloss over that because this is one of those things that obviously, you as a state senator, any of our state reps, if you're a parent or a grandparent listening to this, or an aunt or an uncle, reach out to your state senator, reach out to Senator Paxton, reach out to your state representative, and reach out to your local school board members. And you know what? If you don't like the response you get from your local school board members, if they're not outraged and wanting to find a solution, then they need to be replaced.
Well, and I'll tell you another group I just was introduced to, Kathy, in the last week. There are two groups, Moms for America.
Okay.
So to all the moms who are listening this morning, grandmothers, et cetera, Moms for America, and then Moms for Liberty.
Okay.
And both of these groups are about helping moms who have concerns about not just schools in particular. I think the Moms for Liberty is really focused on the school issues and encouraging moms who are concerned about what they see to run for school board and helping them have resources around that if that's something that they have concerns about. And Moms for America is a little broader in its oversight, or what it's looking at and paying attention to. But they're both great organizations. If you're looking for a way to, you're looking around going, I feel bothered by some of the things I see going on. I want to make a difference. How do I do that? I would say, number one, I'd love for you to reach out to me go to my website, angelapaxton.com, join the team, and we want to engage you. We want to help educate you on the issues that are in our communities. And I feel, a particular affinity and real connect. I was not ever planning on running for office, but I am, and I think that my background as a mom is probably the most powerful thing
Absolutely.
I bring
Absolutely.
in my role. So anyway, we'd love to have you come, and I'd love to help you. And then those are also 2 other resources that might help.
Fantastic. Well, let's talk about, before we let you guys go and get on down the road, and again, congratulations on your youngest graduating from A&M.
Thank you.
I'm sure somebody just went, whoop, what is it? Is that the sound that they make, that the Aggies make?
That's the sound
there
they
you
make.
go. Well,
that's the cult sound
yes,
that
there
they
you
teach us.
go. Yeah, it's so funny to be like at a big old event and somebody mentions A&M, and then everybody, you're like, oh, okay, there are Aggies, But
Always.
yeah.
Always.
Well, congratulations on that. Let's talk about for Christmas. Do y'all have any family traditions that you do? And then I know you've got such a beautiful singing voice, so I know you sing Christmas carols. I've heard you sing Christmas carols and Christmas songs at parties before. So I want to know what is your favorite song to sing? But what are some Christmas traditions that the Paxton family has?
Well, we kind of do the pajamas on Christmas Eve. I'll be honest with you. I think Christmas Eve is like the panic shopping day. That's a tradition in the Paxton family.
I love it. Oh, I love it.
And actually, we get up in the morning, and usually our daughter Abby is the one, and she is 26 years old. She's actually, wave Abby. That's Abby. She's in the car with us going down to A&M. Abby. Let me introduce the back row here. So here's Sam, Abby's husband, Sam Amedia, and they're both captains in the Air Force.
Oh, God bless you all for your service.
And then this is Tucker, our son Tucker. He's 28.
Hello.
And then you've met my husband.
We know him. We know him.
Yes. So, and then we've got one other daughter, and she and her husband have a little baby Pax. So that's pretty exciting this year with the baby is first Christmas.
Oh, that's,
and then
yeah,
we're going
that's
down
so fun.
What'd I say, Katie? 3 daughters. I was getting to Katie. They're reminding me that there's one other daughter. You know what? I'm not insulted by that. I appreciate the reminder. Katie's not with us because we're going down to her graduation.
There you go.
Yeah, Maddie's 24. She's 22. But we usually, on Christmas morning, Abby's always the one that wakes everybody up. Abby, listening to Christmas music the day after Thanksgiving. We have it blasting everywhere, and then we get up in the morning. We read the Christmas story. Usually Abby is the one that reads the Christmas story. And then we do stockings first. And we do this, like, it lasts pretty much all day. We go, like, one at a time around, and everybody opens, one thing at a time and all. But it's a lot of fun. Now, I will tell you, we have a departure this year that's a little different because now 2 of the kids are married.
Right.
And so now we have kind of the splitting of the holidays.
Yes.
So, they're with us one holiday and with the other. So Christmas is not our year this year, but because Katie's graduating, everybody's coming for that. Everybody's home, and that's why Abby and Sam were able to be here from California, Tucker as well. So anyway, we're actually having Christmas on Sunday.
Oh, and that'll be fun.
So like I have an exponential panic shopping because I'm not ready. Anyway, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
I love it. All right. So you're a singer. You've got a beautiful voice. And if you could sing a little bit of your favorite Christmas song for us. I know there's a lot of great songs out there. If you can sing just a few bars of what your favorite Christmas song is.
Well, my favorite Christmas song is "Oh Holy Night."
Yes.
And,
yes. Same here.
It's a beautiful song. It tells the story of the birth of Christ and the redemptive power of Christ, not only then, but what began then in the manger, and how it breaks the chains of the slave. And it reminds us that in Christ, everyone is free. It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. That's one of my favorite verses in Scripture. And that we are all brothers and sisters in Christ, even those that we don't agree with. And that's probably a good message for all of us to remember
yes.
at this time in our history. And
right.
but I love that. Fall on your knees.
So
on your knees.
Is it too early to ask you to sing a little bit of this for us? And I know we don't have the rights, but
I tell you, it's. I wish I had an orchestra behind me, but I'll give it a roll. Okay, I'll give it a whirl. Okay, okay. Let's see. Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees, oh, hear the angel voices, oh, night divine, oh, night when Christ was born, oh, night divine, oh, night divine.
Bravo, my friend. That was just beautiful. And I can't think of a better way for JP, Kathy, and the crew to end our 2021 season. Thank you so much, Senator. We look forward to seeing you in 2022. Please give the best to your husband, the Attorney General, and to your family. And just congratulations again on great celebrations for today. And we look forward to seeing you soon, Senator.
Well, Merry Christmas to you and to JP and your families. Merry Christmas to all your listeners. Thank you for standing for liberty, for freedom, and for the deepest freedom, which is the freedom we have in Christ. And anyway, love you. We'll talk to you again in the new year. Okay,
love you
Merry
too.
Christmas, everyone.
Y'all have safe travels.
Okay.
Love you, Angela. Bye-bye.
Okay. Love you too. Bye-bye.
All right, so thrilled to be able to finish off the season with somebody who is again a true sister in Christ. And JP sends you his best. He is actually at the rehabilitation facility, and this is a great bit of news to end the show on. It looks like they are looking at a discharge plan for Stan the man, who is JP's dad. So his goal of making it home before Christmas, it looks like that's going to happen. So, hey, to the crew, that's a Christmas miracle, and we're just so excited for him. So from all of us to all of you, to the crew, we love y'all so much. It's been great to be with you this 2021 season with our whole new format and everything. We've got some exciting new things happening for the JP, Kathy, and the Crew show. JP and I are actually going to be back together. We're going to start recording our shows at night and then playing those during the day for you, so he and I can be back together. And then we've got some exciting new formats for some of our different shows on our broadcasting network, and we're real excited to share those with you in 2022. Just Christmas blessings to you and your family and your friends, and Happy New Year. Please stay safe. We love you, and we will see you in 2022. God bless you.